I've moved cross country like 3 times. Yeah, it's been kind of a lot. And each one of those times I've managed to freelance in this new city, and I've had to kind of like start from scratch again. So I thought it would be fun to make a video on how I do that every time. Yes, your mileage may vary. If you stay in a location for a longer period of time, you're probably going to do better because you kind of like start connecting with people locally and they rehire you, or you'll have somebody that hired you like a year ago and they'll remember that you're around and they'll text you, and so you kind of build your local connections more. So I do recommend that you don't do what I've been doing. I'm originally from Miami. In Miami, I was shooting like a lot of events and all this stuff. So that's where my like strongest-ish connections were. But then I moved to Dallas, and that's when I had to start from scratch for the first time. Basically what I did, and what honestly kind of worked in Miami too, so I had experience in Miami because there's not like a formal industry, so kind of just had to hustle and reach out to everybody. There's a couple methods, but one is you go on Google. The easiest thing to start out with is to go on Google and search. First of all, you need to know like what kind of give or take you're shooting. So I shoot a lot of commercial and interview content, so I know that if I target the ad agencies and the production companies in my town, that's the easiest way to get work, because you can just be in the roster and contract for them. So the first thing I would do when I got to a new city is I would put onto Google like production companies, and then I would message all of them. Message, call, whatever works for you. I find for me, cold emailing is usually better than just cold calling, because when you cold call, there's a chance that just some random like receptionist answers the phone, and then you don't get to like who you want to get to. So cold emailing is for me better generally, because I feel like it just gets forwarded to the person that you want to reach instead of just talking to like a receptionist who doesn't know what's happening. You email all of those companies on Google or call them, whatever works for you. And then you tell them something. I mean, your message is going to be different for everybody, but something along the lines of like, hey, I just moved here. I'm a shooter, I'm an editor, I'm this, I'm that. And then you send them your gear list. And then you just do that a bunch. That's the first step. And that's honestly the easiest way to initially get those connections. Then the second thing that I recommend doing is you go and you put videography, your city, on like Instagram, and you start looking to see who's in town. You don't even like have to be like, hey, hire me to anybody, but you go and just talk to the people in your town. You go and just talk to the people in your town, and you try to just be friendly and just make connections, because that's like the most important thing. And then that can eventually lead to work, because they either get double booked, or they need another shooter, or they need an editor, or whatever. Like whatever you do, that's the second thing. And so you do that for every platform. Go on LinkedIn, look for the videographers in your area, look at Instagram, talk to the videographers in your area, or the production companies. Like just see who's in the scene and just be friends with them. That's kind of like it there. So production companies, local videographers, and the people that are in your town, and the people that are doing what you're doing. You know, very rarely you'll have some people that are standoffish and they're kind of like, oh, you're trying to like steal my clients. I have gotten some people that are weird like that, but for the most part, everybody's really nice and they're down to be friends, because like I said, they'll eventually need a second shooter, or maybe you do something better than what they do, like what an aspect, like maybe they're a good shooter but not a good editor and you edit, or vice versa. So building relationships and friends in the industry is like, that's like the number one thing. And so if you immediately get on that, you should like pretty quickly get gigs off of what I just said. Like if you just connect yourself with the local agencies and production companies, and then start building friends in that location that you're in, you'll almost immediately start getting some gigs. Even just offering like, hey, like let me come on as a grip, or I have some extra lights if you need extra hands. Like you'll almost immediately get on as at least an AC or a grip or something. Number 3 is platforms. So there's things like Production Hub, Staff Me Up, Glimmer, Mandy, things like that. Or even you could even try Craigslist. Like I actually will sometimes browse Craigslist, and you'll randomly get like a job from there from time to time. They're usually not like amazing high-paying jobs, but you'll from time to time like randomly find something on Craigslist. So I'm just saying, like, you gotta check everywhere. It's like you're just kind of throwing a net out and then hoping that you catch little fish. So that's definitely that, like, check every corner. Facebook groups are a huge thing, so just joining all the local Facebook groups as well. So videography, your city; film, your city; crew, your city. So you just browse those pages, and same thing there. You could also network with those people and, go drink coffee with them, or offer to help them on set, or maybe they have a short film or something they're working on. You could work with them for free. But usually people are just down to chat. Like, that's the easiest, is just chatting, and just end up talking about gear or whatever, and just, don't seem like a sellout, but yeah, like, you'll just kind of make friends like that. With the platforms are the same thing. It's also another good resource. Not only do jobs get posted on those platforms and you could see local things, but also you could search for production companies and specific roles. So let's say you're an editor, maybe you want to contact other editors, or let's say you're a producer, maybe you'd contact other producers. So, like, that's it. The platforms are easy to be able to find specific people sometimes, because you could sort by what the person does, and then, like, it'll have a list of people showing up. And my final way to make connections in a new city is basically to build those B2B relationships. But those take longer, and that's the part where I feel like you benefit from being in a city longer. So what do I mean by B2B? B2B would be like you're directly going to, like, local businesses and trying to sell video to them. So whatever method you use for that, either SEO, where you build your website and like do Google ads and all that stuff, which that takes time. That takes time for it to result. And you also have just specifically reaching out, cold emailing, cold calling, like doing all that. But that all takes way more time. So for me, like, I lived in like Dallas for like 1 year. So I didn't really have B2B connections like that. A lot of my stuff was contract based and through agencies and stuff like that. So that's the contract and the agencies. That's like way easier to start up really fast. But B2B, that takes time. That like that's where, like, you want to probably settle down in one region and kind of like really dial in on that, because and that honestly ends up being like some of your most profitable and consistent clients, because you're just building like retainers and doing all sorts of stuff. So that's basically my advice for starting a new city. Like I said, I am originally from Miami. I moved to Dallas for a year, then I lived in Seattle for a year, and now I'm back in Texas, and I live in Austin now. So we'll see where the wind takes me, but I really like Austin so far. Yeah, my one regret, I guess, is that I wish that I would like to stay somewhere a little bit longer so that I could kind of do more B2B directly with companies than kind of doing, like, I want to dial back a little bit on doing contract-based stuff. I want to try and, like, double down on doing B2B and get more, like, direct clients like that.